Welcome to the Earth Keepers podcast. This podcast is for people who seek new and better ways to love and care for the earth. It's a podcast for anyone who is deeply concerned about the harm being done to the environment on a local and global level. It's a podcast that builds community and connection between people of like heart and mind, people who believe that earth care should be integrated into every aspect of life, and for many in the Earth Keepers community, that includes our spiritual practices. In this episode, we talk with Erika Alvarez and Johann Ruiz of Casa Adobe. Casa Adobe is an intentional community of people in Costa Rica working together to care for creation, build true relationships, and nurture their faith lives. At the heart of their values is their belief that environmental justice and social justice cannot be separated.
Relationships are important, as well as caring for creation and working for social justice is important too. How can you work for social justice without interacting with people, and how can you take care of creation with only individual action? We need each other to produce change.
Welcome, friends, to the Earth Keepers podcast. So, friends, welcome. Thanks for being on the podcast today. Would you introduce yourselves and tell us briefly what it is that you do at Casa Adobe? Erika, let's start with you.
My name is Erika Alvarez. I was born in El Salvador, but I arrived in Costa Rica 10 years ago with my husband and my daughter. We came here as a refugees, fleeing from the violence in the country. And I have an academic training in physical therapy and a bachelor degree in gender and development, and a master's degree in human rights and peace education. I am also a mother, I am a wife, and I one of the members of Casa Adobe community. And nowadays I am working for Casa Adobe Association. That is the way that Casa Adobe community projects itself to our neighborhood through community organization projects in two main areas that are education and environmental issues.
And Johann.
I'm Johann Ruiz. I've been a member of Casa Adobe for 6 years now. I'm also a student at the University of Costa Rica, our local public university. I study environmental health, basically how the environment shapes people's health and how we can shape the health of the environment as well. And in Casa Adobe, I like to do garden work. I've also started a mushroom cultivation project that I want to try and expand to the community. For now, it's sort of in the experimental phase, just with me doing it. And also, I like to serve people that visit us. I like to be the one to show them a bit of the country and be their tour guide, show them our culture, because Casa Adobe is a place of many cultures, and sometimes they want to know a bit more about Costa Rica, and I'm a Costa Rican, so I can help with that. And of course, if they want to know about other cultures, we have lots of them here.
I want to pick up on that in just a bit, but Erika, I'm wondering if you could tell us, what is Casa Adobe?
Casa Adobe is a Christian intentional community located in Heredia, Costa Rica. We are people from different countries and backgrounds, and we have decided to share our life, to supporting each other through good and bad situations. Nowadays, we are 15 people living together. There are other people who live outside the house, but they also us consider these people as part of our community. We share our economy, the responsibility of raise our children, but also we share our interest for creation and building true relationships among our neighborhood. And we like to think about us as adobe bricks made of clay, imperfect, strong only when a master unites us. And we consider ourselves as individuals that need constant work. And that is the reason of our name, Casa Adobe. We think we are like this kind of material that is very fragile, and we need constant work in each other.
I really love this idea of being not only a community, but the hub of community. So there's around 50 people who live on site, but then people outside in the surrounding area who are also considered members of the community. How does that work? Like, how would they connect with you? What does community look like when you've got that many people relating to one another?
There are different levels of membership in Casa Adobe, and there's also the community outside of Casa Adobe. And we consider everybody part of the community. If you're just a volunteer that comes here for a year or only comes here for a week, or you're someone that brings your kids to one of our educational programs, they're all part of the community. Of course, we have our core, we have the people that live here permanently, Erika and I and other families. But that only makes us the core that sort of makes the decisions about like the finances and all these things. But the benefits are cultivated by the whole community, all Santa Rosa, depending on the project we're doing and all the people that help us do those things. Because, of course, the core, we need other hands, to do with the things we want to do. So, of course, there are many volunteers that help us out, and we consider them part of the community too.
Erika, did I understand that you actually pay a lot of attention to helping the community to be formed? In other words, you're one of the maybe community builders, especially as you look to the surrounding area?
Yeah, everything starts like a dream. And I think it's also right now it's a dream because we are building a new community every day, every month, and with every person who comes here, we try to adapt and we try to learn from each other. So we are building this dream. We are still working on it because it's not complete. But I think each person who has passed here, they gave you something to us. They put different brick in the construction. So it's very exciting because we have learned so much about each other and about each person who has come here in all this time.
Johann, I'm very intrigued with what you said about the multicultural aspect of the community. How does that work, and what cultures might be represented in the community on a given day?
The families that are here permanently, we are from Costa Rica, Argentina, El Salvador, the United States, and Venezuela. It's very interesting. I had never really experienced that before coming here. Living permanently with people from all different cultures, I had experienced being with foreigners for a short time, but now living with it, you realize all the different things. Something as simple as like washing the dishes is so different in other cultures. Like here in Costa Rica, people are very meticulous about washing a lot, use very harsh chemicals usually. People usually don't have hot water, so you scrub a lot and it's very like physical contact. And because of course we don't have a washing machine for dishes. And also just how people express themselves. Here in Costa Rica, we are more reserved. You could sort of compare it to sort of the Midwest, where you don't say things directly, you sort of go around them. And in other cultures like Nicaragua, just our neighbors, it's way more upfront confrontation. Of course, that plays into the whole social dynamic here of how we deal with conflict, because of course there's going to be conflict. The thing is how you deal with it. And so we try to have that in mind, all the cultural significance of how people talk and stuff like that.
In terms of the changes it's made for you and your families, if I were to ask what difference life at Casa Adobe has made in your life, how would you describe that? Erika, we can go ahead and hear your answer first.
We came here in a very special situation. We came here as a refugees, and we have to leave everything behind. So when we came here, having a group of people who support us, it was and it is very important. My husband and I believe that without the community, we couldn't have overcome the loss of our support network. And the community teaches that it's impossible and maybe it's not right to live our life without sharing with other people, because I don't know, it will be easy to stay inside the four walls or try to start a new life, only the three of or something like that. But when we can hear and discover that how important it can be the community, even to raise our daughter, that changed our life. And the fact that we try to share everything, including our finances, is very challenging because it's something that we are not educated for. But this is a different approach, so we can share our washing machine. We don't have to buy one washing machine for every family. We can share one, and everybody put money and we buy it, and we have some challenging because of course there are conflicts, there are problems, there are difficult times, and we have to learn how to manage all that conflict in a healthy way. So yeah, it's very different what I could dream, but it's also better.
Johann, what about you? How has that made a difference in who you are, how you look at life?
Yes, it has made a huge difference. My family, we came here more voluntarily, trying to find a place where we belong, and because we were looking for a community. We had heard of Casa Adobe. And for me personally, it's been a journey to reimagine ways of living. We are defined by the way we can share with other people, and we're defined by our way of sharing the land because we live in the same land, and our finances, and we're defined also, as Erika said, by the way we try to resolve things that come up when you live with a lot of people, which is inevitable. Of course, yeah, we got to say right now that it's not a utopia, of course, and there are many different misconceptions of living in community as well.
Are most people in the community followers of Christ, or is there more of a diversity there? I mean, how does the faith component fit into the ethos of the community?
I think we define us as a Christian community. I am working on myself, trying to bring peace to myself about what it means to be a Christian and what it means to be a feminist, and how to put those categories together. And it is not easy because in some point they are against each other, but it's a process for me. But yes, we are Christian community, and we try to follow the principles that Jesus gave us, and trying to make justice among us in our neighborhood too. But I think we are all are learning a new way to follow Jesus, not in a traditional way, and be respectful with our environment and with Jesus, etc.
Yeah, I picked up on that word that Johann, you used, the reimagination of community. In some ways, it sounds like you're also trying to reimagine what faith life looks like.
Yes, completely. Actually, I mean, we have also people here that are they're scholars of faith too. We have 4 theologians in the community. And we also have people from every denomination, not every, but a lot of different denominations, all the way from, Pentecostal, more conservative, to CRC, Lutheran, all kinds of different denominations. But we all come here as one, and we have our devotions and our prayers, and everybody is welcome to participate and to lead in these. So we have people that also feel empowered when they get to lead in a spiritual setting. And there are people like me, Erika said that both of us are not strongly into a specific belief or denomination. For me, yeah, like I don't go to the morning prayer, but every morning I nurture my mushrooms. I go to my mushroom farm in the back and water them, and that's my spiritual connection, and I feel some form of God in that. And other people have felt it differently. Like we had one volunteer that really felt that she was doing the Lord's work in compost, and she was able to, in some way, talk about the Lord and evangelize through her compost mission, that she was processing all the compost from the community here in the house. And she really felt that there too. So it's definitely reimagining how we live in faith and how that ties into other things.
So you're recommending to us raising mushrooms as a form of prayer?
I definitely would. I love it. They have a very good role in the ecosystem that not a lot of people talk about. And I just think we wouldn't be here if it weren't for mushrooms, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, there'd be a lot of people who agree with you, actually, especially in our networks here with the Circlewood community. People really believe that nature is revelation, as much, if not more, than the Bible would be, that God is present in all creation. And we just have to learn how to see, learn how to hear, learn how to listen for the signs of God that are all around us. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I really love that. And even the woman who is a composter, to see composting as worship is just something that probably either freaks people out as they think about it, or something that really appeals, right? Something new and fresh and alive. Just a perspective that I think brings back new life into faith practice. I would really like to know about what people in Santa Rosa think about Casa Adobe. What is your relationship to the broader community around you, Erika?
They are happy with us. And not because we have bring a lot of projects or a lot of change around here, but because we have built relationships with them. This is a very important part of our job, to build relationships, and our motto is to being good neighbors. So to do that kind of thing, we need to talk with people, we need to spend time with them, and so we learn the problems that the community have, or what kind of things they are struggling and they want to change, and we discover or learn something about the person and their own problems, etc. So I think they feel that we are doing good in the neighborhood. We have several projects running here, some of them related with creation care. We have a small community garden with the elders here, and we have this composting project, and we collect the kitchen waste of 12 families, and we convert it in compost, and we use this compost in our own gardens. And through this, we have learned too much about people and about our neighborhood and the needs that are here. And it's a good opportunity to grow our relationships outside the community.
We've been talking with Erika Alvarez and Johann Ruiz of Casa Adobe. In our conversations so far, they have shared about what it means to care for the environment as an expression of authentic community. If you find yourself wanting to explore more ideas about working with others in pursuit of greener faith practices, you might want to check out the new Circlewood blog called The Ecological Disciple. This is a resource for those who want to pursue an integrated faith that sees the connections between soil care and soul care, renewable energy and racial justice, child poverty and climate change. It's a blog for those who want to help bring renewal to people and planet. Be sure to check it out at www.ecodisciple.com. That's ecodisciple, all one word, .com. And of course, we'll put that link in the episode's show notes as well. And as always, you can find the show notes on the Earthkeepers podcast website. Now let's get back to our conversation with Erika and Johann. So your community's mission statement focuses on 3 areas of practice: caring for creation, building true relationships, and nurturing faith in a God of love and justice. So I'm very curious to focus in on the creation care. You've told us, I think, about the other aspects of the mission, but how is creation care integrated into really the function and purpose of Casa Adobe? Johann?
We believe that healthy environments make healthy people. So if we can contribute to having a healthy environment in Casa Adobe and in Santa Rosa, that means we will all be happier. Something that I really like that we started doing is caring about our local river. It's called Rio Virilla. It's a very contaminated river, and nobody really thinks about it. It's such a big problem that people just sort of give up on it. And Erika has done a great job in organizing the community to take care of it. We've organized trips down to the river. We go and enjoy the scenery because even though it's contaminated, it's actually quite nice down there. People didn't know that because they were never able to go down there. And we've been able to pick up some of the trash there, but at least make it pretty so people can enjoy that.
Erika, what's your take on that kind of blurring of the lines between environmental justice issues and social justice issues? Are they, in fact, separatable?
No, I think we believe that we are integral beings where relationships are important as well as caring for creation and working for social justice is important too. How can you work for social justice without interacting with people? And how can you take care of creation with only individual action? We need each other to produce change. And even we need each other to have political influence. And together we are stronger as the other bricks. Ecological justice is also social justice, since it has been recognized that for people to fully enjoy their human rights, it's necessary to live in a safe environment. So we cannot make a distinction between both. I think we need to understand that, yeah, we have different parts in our life that we need to unite. As a human being, we have to think that we are not separated from each other, and social justice is not separated from ecological justice. So we need to work both at the same time if we want to make a real change.
Are there things that Casa Adobe has invested in as a community that perhaps could show us how there is that interplay between social justice and environmental justice? When you think about the creation care activities that the community is committed to, are any of those examples of that blurred boundary?
Yes, we've invested in physical infrastructure for the house that demonstrates that wanting to care for creation. So we have solar heating, solar panels that are used for heating. We don't really need to invest much in renewable energy because Costa Rica already produces it. More than 90% of our electricity comes from renewables. So we saw it better to do it for our water, which we use a lot of water heating. Also, in the same realm of water, we have a water recycling system. The gray water, which we use for washing your hands and taking a shower, that gets recycled in a closed system that goes into the bathrooms. Because why would you contaminate a clean water for something that you're not going to drink? Not everybody can design their own water recycling system. But at the same time, we do other things that don't require big infrastructure, like the compost, producing our own food. So we have regular crops that we have just all the time, a lot of root vegetables and things that provide a lot of nutrition and are things that we eat here in Costa Rica that are local, that we don't have to invest much in because they grow easily. The house is built in a way that there's a lot of windows. There are a lot of windows, so you can see the birds all the time, and you can really think about that while you're meditating or while you're doing your work. And that's very important too. And And if anyone was to make a community from scratch, the way the space is built to incorporate nature is very important. And as Erika said, that's something that the community outside of Casa Adobe likes to enjoy here.
In some ways, it strikes me that the mission to provide access to the river is also social justice. If, in fact, people were denied access because of assumptions or because of garbage strewn about, I mean, there are a lot of reasons why people would not really acknowledge the river there. And yet you have made access to people to be able to come and see the beauty of this place. Would you call that social justice as well?
Yes, definitely. I would call that social justice. In fact, the river is a loss of the public space. People don't want to be there because it's a dangerous place, and we need to recover that. And it's very sad that people that nowadays is maybe 40 or 50 years old, they have beautiful memories about their time in the river. But young people don't even know the place. So it's not fair. And we are trying to bring young people to these walks, and we are trying to plant new trees and trying to do some work to make this place look beautiful for the community and recover that relationship between the community and the river, because relationships are not only among persons or among people, it could be with nature too, and that's what we're trying to do to reconnect with the river.
I very much like the word you used, your recovering relationship between the people and the river. And that strikes me as quite profound. In fact, it makes part of the work of Casa Adobe the work of reconciliation, that you're healing broken relationship. And people don't often think about relationship to the land. But as you pointed out, for so many people, it has in the past, the river, been crucially important and formational. And so in a way, you're healing that brokenness, which I think is a very noble project.
Yes. And Erika is also a social scientist. So she's figured out a way to connect people to the river, not only by going there, but also by changing the way we talk about it. And she figured out a way to rescue that and make the river a person. So she's Elvira, and we refer to her as well with our shirts. And now we want to record a song about Elvira. And that's a way of also making it present in people's minds that this is a living organism, and it could even have the same rights as a human being. It can be legally a person, and that's a way that we might find to rescue that river, is by making it a person in people's minds. And that's something that I like a lot about.
Well, you're really addressing maybe the core of the problem with the abuse of the environment worldwide, is that so many of us don't remember that it's possible to have relationship with creation, that it's possible to respect nature, say in this case, a river, in ways that we would respect a person. And so it sounds like your works of creation care in the community are not just about picking up trash, not just about creating accessible trails, but actually changing hearts and minds. That really, that's a fundamental culture shift in a lot of ways that sounds difficult. And yet you have found a way to actually begin to see that shift among the people there. Is that correct, Erika?
Yes, and it's very challenging because it's not easy. But we try to do it even in things maybe it will be seen not related with creation care. For example, we have our English classes and we have some volunteers that are working in that. And we encourage them to bring the environmental issues to their classes. So maybe one class it could be to learn vocabulary about nature, about contamination, about pollution, etc. So in that way, we are bringing awareness to the kids that are in our class. So I think we need to be very creative to bring all those topics to an English class for kids, but it's necessary, it's needed, especially because kids are the future, as we say, common say. So we need to do something about our children and give them the opportunity to learn how to grow a tomato because some kids don't have that opportunity here because we are in an urban zone and they are not connected with nature. So we believe that we are here to open opportunities for people in our neighborhood to experiment new things and also good relationships with not only among persons, among people, but with our environment.
I've always wanted to go to Costa Rica. I've been to lots of places in Central America, but never Costa Rica. It's on my list. I would say the world thinks of Costa Rica as this sort of beacon of hope in many ways, right? In terms of the environment, partly maybe that's because there are government initiatives that actually take care of your place better, your land, and the fact that most of your energy is produced sustainably. I think that speaks volumes about the values of Costa Ricans. With the network that Circlewood and Earthkeepers represents, people listen because they really want to learn, especially from different cultural perspectives. We talk to people from many places in the world, and of everyone, we ask them, what is it that your culture brings to the global discussion about caring for the earth that really adds to the conversation and gives us perhaps a missing piece in the puzzle of creation care? What does the culture there offer to the world in terms of things that can be done, ways to think, ways that actually give us some hope?
We have a lot of things done, but that doesn't mean we have to stop there. Costa Rica does recognize since the 90s, Article 50 of its constitution, the right for Costa Ricans to have a healthy environment and ecologically balanced environment. And that's what people want, is for that to be done. And we do have the legal procedures for people to demand that. The problem is that it can be slow, as any government thing. It can be bureaucratic. And I think also a big difference is that Costa Rica has recognized climate change as a very important issue for the country. And it's not a political issue. Like most of all of our political parties agree that it is something that we have to do. Maybe they disagree in the way of dealing with it, but it's not, a controversial topic. People can actually talk about climate change. And as Erika said, it's definitely not perfect. But just being able to talk about environmental issues and not get killed, which is a big problem in Central America. And we've had our issues here too, but we're fighting to make it better.
Let's, in closing, talk about Casa Adobe. If you were to think about lessons that as a community you've learned over the years, what would be some of the things you would point to that could be sources of encouragement or inspiration or hope for people listening to this podcast? Erika?
I believe that an important lesson that we have been learning through our years living in community is that we are imperfect beings who need constant work to be better every day. Also, that all people here have something to learn and something to teach. And even we no intend to give lessons to the people in our neighborhood about how to take care of the environment, but we want to join forces to create a better place to live by being good neighbors. It's also worth it. It's a good way to invest your strength, your time, your life. We are not complete. We need a lot of work, but we have faith in God, faith in each other, faith in we are doing a good work, and we are in that path. We are walking.
What about you, Johann? What would you point to as something about Casa Adobe that gives the rest of the world hope, potentially?
Definitely gives me a lot of hope that we can live with different cultures. As Erika said, we try to learn from each other. And also just being able to live in diversity, because sometimes we talk about diversity like it's over there, like I respect it. But living with diversity is different. It requires more of a personal journey of being open to it and learning about it, and also expressing yourself in your diversity. And that just gives me a lot of hope.
Costa Rica is known for being a green country, and many efforts have been made at the legal level to protect the environment. But we cannot, or we need to be aware that we still have outstanding debts, which, in my opinion, are related to economic interests and capitalism. However, more and more people and communities are organizing themselves to demand the right to live in a safe environment. And that is important too, because they are raising their voices and they are saying to the governments, we need a safe environment and you need to do something about that. I think there are power in the people. We need to raise our voice more often in many issues. And I'm very grateful that people in Costa Rica is more and more aware of these problems and trying to do something in the individual, but also in the collective way.
We've been in conversation with Erika Alvarez and Johann Ruiz of Casa Adobe. For more information about Casa Adobe, check out their website at casaadobe.org. You can find this link and links to other points of interest presented in this podcast on the Earthkeepers podcast website at www.circlewood.online/Earthkeepers. Earthkeepers podcast explores ways in which we can change ourselves, our communities, and our cultures to help us to care for the earth in holistic and regenerative ways. Through curated conversations, we highlight the wisdom of thought leaders and change agents who are making a difference and showing us a way forward. When Earthkeepers stand together, they amplify the impact of their resistance against environmental injustice and multiply their efforts for renewal and restoration. I am Forrest Inslee, your podcast host. Our executive producer is James Amadon. Our producer is Dave Olfers. Forrest Reed is our editor and the creator of our original music. Our research assistant is Rochelle Nordman, and Jessalyn Megerly is our social media director. Thank you, friends, for listening, and please join us next time on the Earthkeepers podcast.